If you know Herpa Wings models, you might think that we, with this aircraft model in front of us, are traveling into the future, but in reality we are traveling into the past, exactly 20 years into the past, and yet this model will put any current day Herpa Wings model to shame. This review has been made possible thanks to HDI International Airport, who has borrowed me this aircraft model, so a big shout out to him. Do check him out, the link is in the video description below. And with that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where we today will take a closer look at a Boeing 747-200F of Nippon Cargo Airlines. At the front of the box we have a lovely image of the aircraft in real life, and on top of that we have the NCA branding. The backside of the box is for sure no massive revelation. It is a simple box design where we have the same image once again and the NCA branding alongside some additional information about the product. But realistically speaking, we as collectors don't really need much more than that. But we also don't want less than that. Herpa. And here she is, the Boeing 747-200F of Nippon Cargo Airlines. And I don't want this video to be me just constantly shooting against Herpa, because frankly the model deserves better, but I want to give some perspective on how much Herpa Wings is cutting corners by giving you a perspective. This net model's aircraft model was produced in 2004, so 20 years ago, and yet I bet you that this will put any current day Herpa Wings model to shame. But these are big words and we need to follow them up, and we will do so by taking a closer look at the aircraft model, starting off with the tail section, where we on the vertical stabilizer have the NCA branding. Also on the horizontal stabilizers we find some lovely bit of detailing, including some writing. On the fuselage we then have the full registration code of the aircraft, some lovely detailing in the cabin doors, and the aircraft type specification. Furthermore, we of course have the main cargo hatch with some lovely bit of detailing also here. Now these stripes, I've never quite known what they are about. I guess they're kind of a reinforcement of the fuselage, but if you know, let me know in the comment section below. And then of course we also have a bit of detailing around the APU exhaust. Now if we move to the front of the aircraft, we can see across the fuselage the writing of Nippon Cargo Airlines, and we also have the Japanese flag. Furthermore, again notice the lovely bit of detailing in the cabin doors. And of course we do also have some static ports. I mean, it's a freighter, why would you add any detailing on it? Oh wait, it's a net models model, so of course there will be details. And it continues around the cockpit section, where we of course have the cockpit windows, the window wipers, a bit hidden in the dark blue, we have petto tubes, and of course the emergency hatch just above the cockpit section. Now this is a 20-year-old aircraft and it's bound to show somewhere, and for me it's mainly around the engines, where we don't find any printed details apart from the silver leading edge. The physical detailing is actually quite nice, but when we look into the engines from the front we can see the engine fan blades, however in a metallic grey, and I think that should be in a darker color. But how about the wings? Let's take a closer look at them, starting off with the top side, where we have the different flaps, slats and spoilers carved out very nicely. Across the wings we also find the Japanese flag and the full registration code of the aircraft, and of course we also have the markings on the wing as to where to walk on them, not just with the line but actually also again in writing. Also the underside of the wing then again offers us the Japanese flag and full registration code of the aircraft alongside some more physical detailing. But my highlight on the wings is simply the addition of the landing lights, which have been printed on. Such a tiny little detail, but adds so much to a model. The landing gear, that is the standard landing gear that net models and many other manufacturers back in the early 2000s used for their 747 models. Not my favorite landing gear, but again, somewhere the model has to show its age. This is also a fact at the front landing gear, where we can see there has been a little bit of yellowing around the hatches. But we do have a printed detail, which is very exciting. On the belly of the aircraft we find a hole for a stand, which I don't know if it was delivered with the aircraft model, because as I said, this is from 2004. I have no clue if it came with it, but just notice how many other printed details we have here that are related to the aircraft type, not the livery. Something Herpa of course would have skipped in a heartbeat. And then finally we do also have the remaining doors to the cargo compartments printed on here at the back of the aircraft, and also here at the front of the aircraft. So there we have it, the Boeing 747-200F in the standard livery of Nippon Cargo Airlines from net models in scale 1 to 500. And what can we say about this aircraft model? Now look, it's not the fault of the model that it is better than anything we get nowadays, even though it is a 20-year-old model. No 20-year-old model should be able to compete with current day releases, but it of course can. And why? Well, because they haven't cut corners at net models when they made this model, but added as many details as possible. An example of that is when we look at the top of the fuselage, where we of course don't find physical antennas, but net models did add antennas as a printed detail. And I mean, you don't really need much more than that in scale 500 to really elevate a model. Yes, of course, there are areas where it clearly shows its age. For me, it's mainly around the engines and also the landing gear. But I mean, still, with all the other things I'm getting, I can easily live with that. To be honest, this model makes me sad, because it shows me what is possible and what we are not getting today. On the other hand, it also makes me happy, because it shows me what is possible in scale 500 if someone could actually be bothered to work for their money, instead of just ripping off collectors. So if you are into retro stuff, this is for sure a great model to have in one's collection, and for sure a model that does not deserve to be compared with Herpa. Now with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed this video, then feel free to leave a like. If you're new around here, why not hit subscribe? And with that, thanks so much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.